So let's see. Okay, so I think you can just share one. It looks like just one at a time, one kind of application. So this is one actually I've been working on for a client, and this is actually through Figma, but previous to using Figma, most of my work has been through Sketch for the past probably 5 years. So using Figma is just kind of a good way to keep updated on the different software out there. But this project actually is for a company with an existing style guide. It is existing style, but they didn't have a style guide. And so I took kind of the information from their existing style and created this sort of lightweight style guide. And then through that in Figma, you can see, I think on the right here, all the local styles. So you can see the fonts and the colors. And then I also started pulling together some of the UI and interactions. So just some of the inputs and icons that they use, so that when I'm going through and updating their design software, I can use this. And it's super helpful to just go through and be able to use existing text. So it's kind of the start of a design system within Figma. And I feel like that's been really helpful. So do you have any questions about this? Or is that something you're looking for? Or do you...
No, not yet. No questions just yet.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me see. Okay, new share. So another one that I have been working on, this is for a client, designing basically a schedule tracker. They have a small business doing yacht maintenance, and so basically they're looking for a way to keep track of their workers and easily add to the schedule. And so for this one, I actually am using the existing material design system. So I brought in kind of the material theme. You can download and then enter your own colors into it, and it kind of updates everything for you. And then they have all the components in there as well. So as I've been developing the UX for that, I can just go through and use kind of the existing design sheet from material to kind of bring in components and make sure all of the fonts and styles stay consistent. So those are kind of the ones I've been doing with design systems recently. And then I don't know if you had a chance to kind of go through my portfolio on my website at all. So this is something, I actually also have a background in web development, which I feel like is super helpful with UX because you can have a better understanding of what's possible in the code instead of kind of, coming up with something that would be really difficult to implement. You can make sure that you're sticking with something that won't be too crazy for developers. So some of the recent projects I've been working on, and I think, so I guess one question for the healthcare, it's going to be an app. Is it going to be like a mobile app, a responsive kind of software system?
I think it might be like a full like web and mobile, but I'm not totally sure on that. It's B2C, and it's from what I remember it was a medication ordering sort of user interface and flow. So I assume there will be some mobile elements to that.
Okay, cool. So one thing that I worked on recently was a mobile app that helped people, basically people who may run into immigration issues, to be able to text their close family and friends if they run into any issues so that their family and friends know where they are. So this was actually updating an existing design. So I went through the sitemap and added kind of things that would be new within there. And then within the wireframes, it created a kind of a whole new system for users to make sure that they could be prepared for such an instance. So these are just an example of some of the wireframes. This is for a mobile app, obviously. And then I have just this quick little prototype that I have a GIF of that I created for the client so they can kind of see how it worked as we were going through building the wireframes. So yeah, so this is the sitemap I was mentioning. So just kind of all of the blue sections are the new items that were added in. The blue dots were new features that were added into the existing site. And then the wireframes, we kind of created this new system that allowed people to make sure that they were prepared. So it's sort of this step-by-step process that they could go through to make sure like they had the right contacts added, etc. And then here is a GIF. I had created a prototype through InVision to walk the clients through the different wireframes. So that's just what this is. So basically, you would have to allow access in order for this app to work. You can add a contact through the address book, and then kind of it shows you what message will be sent to the contact if you ever use this.
Yeah, what was the process of kind of developing like the flow of this on the UX side?
So basically, we went through the existing app, and the client we were working with kind of works with these communities. So we went out and got some research to make sure that what we were creating would actually be helpful. And then coming back with that research, we went through and made a few different flows. Like one of the things that people have feedback on was it took a lot of time to do this. So they wanted one that would just be kind of a quick start to this. So we added two different flows, one that was just a quick start where people could quickly add a contact, and one that was more of like a hand-holding guide that kind of took them through all the different aspects of this. So essentially just kind of working with the feedback from the community, we created different flows for this that included like planning and additional like resources that were available through the app. And then once we kind of mapped out that user journey, we created wireframes based on, the different sections, and then created a prototype that just kind of went through each different basically journey stage. So like a quick start and then more information. And then, because I feel like it's always a lot more helpful to kind of have a working prototype to show the client, like, this is how you go through it. Does that answer your question?
Sure, yes.
Cool.
Well, so we've got another minute or two here. Is it just to kind of let you know?
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, so just one more thing, like I worked with, excuse me, I worked with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, HMH. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They're one of the biggest kind of like learning software system companies.
Cool.
So basically I worked with them to help them redesign their software systems for teachers to help them kind of work with children who are at risk for learning disabilities. And I worked with them for 2.5 years, so I was on a lot of different projects. And I feel like kind of the background of what it sounds like they're looking for with this company is a lot of what we did there. So we did user mapping, we did a lot of user testing, prototyping, working within their existing design framework to make sure everything was cohesive. Creating prototypes that people could walk through. So, just making sure all of the items that we wanted to show were showcased within those things. So yeah,